Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating, deeply interconnected world right inside your own body. We're talking about the hidden pathways that link your thyroid, your liver, and your heart. We often tend to think of our organs as these isolated systems just doing their own thing, but human physiology is actually this highly integrated, incredibly complex biochemical network. So today, we're going to trace an unbroken loop, starting all the way up in your brain and running right down into your bloodstream. Okay, let's dive right into this clinical mystery. Have you ever wondered why you, or maybe someone you know, might be dealing with classic symptoms of a sluggish thyroid? We're talking fatigue, holding on to extra weight, or maybe even elevated LDL cholesterol on a blood test. But then the doctor checks your standard thyroid labs and everything comes back completely in range. How is that even possible? Well, as we'll see, the answer usually doesn't lie in the thyroid gland itself. Instead, the real issue is hiding further down the physiological factory line. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. The hidden thyroid bottleneck. 2. The liver's crucial conversion. 3. Bile, gallbladder, and taurine. 4. Essential minerals unlocking metabolism. 5. T3, cholesterol, and vascular health. And finally, 6. Optimizing your liver health. Section 1. The hidden thyroid bottleneck. To really figure out where this whole system breaks down, we've got to start right at the top, the neuroendocrine starting point up in your brain. Step 1. Your hypothalamus secretes a hormone called TRH. This signals step 2, which is your pituitary gland, telling it to release TSH, or thyroid-stimulating hormone. That TSH then travels down to step 3, your thyroid gland, prompting it to synthesize and pump out thyroid hormones. But here is the absolutely critical detail. The primary hormone secreted by your thyroid is roughly 80% inactive T4 and only 20% active T3. And that brings us to this essential comparison. T4, or thyroxine, is super abundant, but it's essentially a biologically inactive prohormone. It's basically just raw material. T3, on the other hand, is the biologically active hormone. It's the one that actually enters your cells and fires up your metabolism. So the true metabolic power of your thyroid axis isn't just about how much T4 your thyroid is pumping out. It relies entirely on peripheral conversion. That raw material has to be processed to actually do its job. Section 2, the liver's crucial conversion. Welcome to the hepatic nexus. Your liver is essentially the body's primary processing plant for taking all that inactive T4 and turning it into active T3. It does this using a specific enzyme called DIO1. You can think of this as the ultimate metabolic bottleneck. If your liver is sluggish or overwhelmed, this conversion simply fails. And honestly, it doesn't matter how loudly your pituitary gland is screaming with TSH or how much raw T4 your thyroid is producing. If the liver isn't converting it, you are going to feel hypothyroid symptoms. Now, you might think the liver's job is done once the hormone is converted. Actually, scratch that. It goes even deeper. The liver also manages an incredible recycling program called enterohepatic circulation. The liver conjugates thyroid hormones and excretes them into the biliary tract, flushing them down into your intestines through your bile. Once they reach the gut, your microbiome goes to work, deconjugating them so they can be reabsorbed right back into your bloodstream. But this pathway is highly fragile. For instance, if we look at a Philippine dietary setting, overconsuming high oxalate foods like huge amounts of starfruit, also known as balimbing, or eating too many taro leaves in dishes like lying can actually disrupt these gut microbes. That impairs their ability to deconjugate and recycle your thyroid hormones. So optimal hepatic health, a balanced gut microbiome, and efficient bile flow are literally mandatory for keeping up your active thyroid hormone pool. Section 3, bile, gallbladder, and taurine. So we just established that the liver desperately needs the biliary system to recycle hormones. But check out this bidirectional loop, because it's fascinating. The gallbladder actually needs active T3 hormone just to function. Active T3 is what stimulates gallbladder motility. If your T3 levels drop too low, your gallbladder gets sluggish, a state called biliary stasis, and that massively spikes your risk for cholesterol gallstones. So the liver needs the gallbladder to recycle T3, but the gallbladder needs T3 to physically pump the bile. It is just a beautifully intricate, totally dependent feedback loop. And right in the middle of all this is taurine. It's a conditionally essential amino acid, and it's kind of the secret weapon here. Up in the liver, taurine conjugates with bile acids. This actually alters their chemical structure to keep those bile acids highly soluble, or liquid, in the highly acidic biliary tract. This prevents cholesterol from crystallizing into stones, ensures your gallbladder can empty efficiently, and makes sure you can actually absorb crucial fat-soluble vitamins like A and D. Section 4, essential minerals unlocking metabolism. Now, what's really interesting here is how a deficiency in just one of these trace elements can shut down the entire assembly line. Take a look at selenium. It's literally the structural backbone of those diiodidase enzymes we talked about earlier. Without selenium, your liver absolutely cannot create active T3. Then you have zinc. Zinc is required for T3 to actually bind to the receptors inside your cells. So no zinc, you've got functional hypothyroidism at the cellular level, even if your blood labs look completely normal. Iron is needed right at the start for synthesizing the hormones in the thyroid, and magnesium is required to produce ATP, the cellular energy that fuels this entire transportation network. Section 5, T3, cholesterol, and vascular health. All right, so now that we've seen how the liver and minerals create and process this hormone, let's talk about the vascular culmination of all this, because the ultimate proof of great thyroid status actually shows up in your blood vessels. Active T3 acts directly on the endothelial cells lining your blood vessels to upregulate an enzyme called eNOS. eNOS is what catalyzes the production of nitric oxide, which is a super potent vasodilator. It literally tells your blood vessels to relax, open up, and expand. If your liver isn't making enough T3, eNOS drops, your nitric oxide drops, and the end result is endothelial dysfunction, stiff arteries, and a much higher risk of atherosclerosis. This leads us to a massive paradigm shift. Active T3 binds to receptors on your liver cells and commands them to create more LDL receptors. Those receptors then reach out and physically pull LDL cholesterol right out of your bloodstream. But without enough active T3, you simply don't have enough LDL receptors. The cholesterol literally backs up in your blood, kind of like a traffic jam. This means that elevated LDL and ApoB are very often a clearance bottleneck caused by inadequate liver conversion of T3, completely independent of what you're eating or producing. Section 6, optimizing your liver health. So what does this all mean for us? How do we fix this bottleneck and optimize that T4 to T3 conversion? Let's quickly run through these powerful physiological levers. First step, your liver needs the right building blocks. Adequate protein and amino acids like glycine and NAC are non-negotiable for detoxification and hormone metabolism. That directly ties into our second lever, which is supporting glutathione, the liver's master antioxidant. Third, we have to support bile flow. Fourth, we need to stop burdening the liver, meaning we cut out excess fructose, alcohol, and ultra-processed seed oils that drive fatty liver and wreck enzyme activity. Fifth, ensure trace mineral sufficiency, especially selenium and zinc. Sixth, give your cells mitochondrial and methylation support with things like CoQ10. And finally, lever 7, resolve systemic inflammation, because inflammation is a massive known brake on your liver's conversion capacity. Just to zoom in on lever number 3 for a second, choloretic support, we have to talk about TUDA, along with its counterpart Utica. TUDA, or taurodeoxycholic acid, is an absolute powerhouse here. It's a hydrophilic or water-loving bile acid that massively improves bile flow and reduces cholestasis. By acting as a really potent protector for the liver, TUDA ensures that the enterohepatic circulation, that crucial recycling program for your thyroid hormones, keeps running smoothly without any interruptions. And this brilliantly illustrates our entire journey today. The connection between your pituitary gland, your liver, your gallbladder, trace minerals, and vascular health is one continuous, unbroken loop. The pituitary kicks off the signal, the liver executes the conversion, the gallbladder handles the recycling, and the minerals, they're the biochemical keys that make it all work. A breakdown at any single node in this loop, whether it's a lack of zinc, a sluggish liver, or biliary stasis, compromises the entire system. And that can manifest as anything from stubborn high LDL to poor blood flow. It totally changes how you look at the human body, doesn't it? So here's the thought to leave you with. The next time you or your doctor are looking at a standard blood panel, I challenge you to look way beyond just the thyroid gland itself. Ask the deeper question, what is your liver actually doing with those hormones? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep optimizing, and I'll catch you in the next one.